Hey folks, got the wrecker bed up here at the shop, and when I purchased this wrecker bed, or I actually traded for it down in Wilmington, North Carolina, my intention wasn't to put it on as is. The reason that I got this 475 is because the booms mount up higher, and when I say mount up higher, this is a lot taller than all the others. And it actually, on a 1-ton truck, puts them winches in the back window. And a lot of people don't like them, but I was actually looking for that particular style. Now, they made this in a single line, and I wanted, of course, the 475T, which is twin line. And my intentions were, and still may be, to mount that on what's called a slewing gear. A slewing gear is a turntable bearing with a gear on it. And the gear, so you can run a hydraulic motor and turn this and make this into a rotator. And the problem with a small rotator is your boom length don't go out far enough, so when you swing it, if you're have something on it, let's say a car you picked up out of a ditch or over an embankment on the other side, and you're swinging it around, it'll hit the corner of the bed. So the other plan was to put this and the slewing gear on slides and make this a slider. This would actually slide back to the tailboard, and that would give me extra boom length. And I'm still on the fence as to whether I'm going to do this or not. And the amount of time it's going to take to build it's going to be a lot more, and more parts, way more control valves, and I'm going to have to run outriggers on it. And the way I do the outriggers is a full bar all the way across, like let's just say 6x6 tubing, 4x6 tubing, and one cylinder in the center, and that one cylinder pushes both ways. It would push both outriggers out at the same time, and that would limit me to one cylinder for that, or one control valve, one cylinder for that. But my outer outriggers would have a cylinder in each, and then because you really need to come off of this tailboard out this way, and down low, the way that's not in the way of swinging or anything like that. And so you're looking at 3 control valves just for that, then 3 more for the front, because you've got to put them at behind the cab at the front of the truck. So that's 6 control valves, and then you've got a slide, a rotator, boom up and down, boom in and out, and 2 winches. That's another 6 control valves. So you're looking at 12 functions, and each of them's got to have 2 hoses, so to each cylinder, so or hydraulic motor in the case of the winches. But so you're looking at a lot more work, a lot more time, and more money. But I mean, I've got all the parts. I'm going to show you the slewing gear here in just a little bit. If I do this, I may use this same tailboard, cut it off. I like the way this tailboard's made. I'd still have to integrate some outriggers into it, but it's good. They're good and heavy, and you see it had some little manual outriggers on it, but them won't work for what we need. But I like the Holmes pieces here, and the chain latches down here, which I really wouldn't need if I had outriggers on it. But when you don't have outriggers, that's actually for the chains coming off of your wheel chocks. Keeps you from running over your wheel chocks, and you can really winch hard on them, and they do good. But I'm going to show you the parts I've got. I'm going to show you the slewing gear. It's actually at a friend's house, but it's on a track hoe, and or an excavator, whatever you want to call it. And I've got the slides I plan to use to slide that back, and I've got a set of the outriggers that I would probably use on the front side, and then build my rear outriggers. And but I'm going to show you that real quick, and it's still up in the air as to whether I do that or not. Still working on the truck, and I've got to have this decided on how I'm going to do this and what I'm going to do by the time this truck's built or finished, where it'll run and drive and ready to go. So I've got to come up with something pretty quick, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the other pieces. Okay, for my slides, to slide everything back and forward, you can see this forklift. I've got it done on its side and getting ready to take the mast off. This is an old electric stand-up forklift. Not good for much, so it's just parts. And but you can see these slides. I think this looks like about 3/4 at the top, 1/2 inch here, another 3/4 lip, another one the same way, and then you have this one, which is the outer one. It's a, you know, a full piece of channel, and you know, really heavy, and would definitely do what we need to do. And you know, we could use it with rollers or just without rollers, or you know, we can decide all of that as we go. We actually have this piece that goes in it that has the rollers, but it's also got, you know, side rollers to keep it from going, you know, or keep pressure off of the side. And you can see where the roller has run up and down, oiled. But so if we do the slide, this would be the part for it. These are about 6 foot long, so would do good, because that would, you know, give us a full length travel. I don't want it to run out either end of it. But that's a start, and I'll show you the outriggers that I'm planning to use in just a minute. Okay, so here is the old bed. This is the bottom side of the old bed off of that 57 International. And this was a rotator itself, but everything on this thing is just about shot. Kind of a weird setup the way it worked. The PTO shaft actually ran through this hole, and here's the shaft, ran to this gearbox, and this gearbox is in the center of the slewing gear on this, and it ran directly up and ran the hydraulic pump. And what that did was it gave you PTO power, but all your hydraulics were maintained in the unit that turned. And that is not what we want. We don't want to have to get up and sit on the boom of the wrecker to be able to operate it. This is, you know, old military style, and you can see, you know, that it's good and heavy the way that they got it in. You know, most slewing gears bolt all the way around with a lot of bolts. This one just has 6 bolts. You know, not sure. It's got quite a bit of heavy steel on it, but here is the outrigger. Now this was at the back of this truck, and it didn't have side outriggers, and I just don't want to run without them. And this would probably be mounted behind the cab, and there's a hydraulic cylinder inside of it. The way that this worked, because of the hydraulics being self-contained in that boom unit, this gearbox came in and another shaft come out the other side, you know, besides the one running up to the pump, but this one come out the other side, and it ran to another small pump in the other side of this. And that small pump and another set of control valves, which were operated from right here. Okay, this would have been the extend in and out, and then these was to lower your outriggers down on each side, which was nothing but cylinders on pivots. But what I would do would cut this section out, and then, you know, mount it, of course, and then I would make outriggers that went on the ends that were square tubed, and the cylinder would be contained inside of it instead of being on the outside. And that would be one of our outriggers, you know, already built. And you know, I actually started this truck up and played with it a little bit. I actually blew the hose on it when I was using it, but you know, the outriggers worked fine. And of course, like I said, I wouldn't be using these cylinders on the outside. I'd just be using the single cylinder on the inside. And we're trying to limit our control valves, so you know, it would be nice to have one on each side, but you know, we may not do that. Believe it or not, if you really wanted to, it was in a situation where you could only use one side, you could chain one in or pin it in and just hit your lever enough to push this side out, and that would only bring one out. And because, you know, it's going to travel the path of least resistance, the one that is not being held is the one that's going to go until it comes to the end, and then it's going to transfer your, you know, your pressure back to the other side. Which, you know, that would work out just fine for what we're doing. You know, it's a big decision really as to whether we do it or not, and either way, we'll I'm going to let you know. You know, it's so much quicker just to throw the bed on it, but you know, that's really not me, and I usually go overboard. But you know, back here with an hour with a torch, we can have that out. And you know, somebody might say, well, why use it? Why not buy new steel and build one? Well, new steel costs a lot of money to me, and you know, I don't mind, you know, taking an hour to cut that out, clean it up, You know, it's built, it's ready. You know, if I cleaned it up, you know, got it ready, painted it and all that, you know, if I'd done it before, you've seen it here, you know, you would think it was new. And you know, that's the whole point of doing this. I don't want to buy a bunch of steel, a bunch of new steel to build this kind of stuff. I mean, you know, the whole point is, you know, it's not just saving money. It's building it the way I want to build it, because, you know, I got my ideas on how I want it built and how I think things should work. And you know, I've never been real happy with some of the factory units when it comes to, you know, the strength and the size the booms are made. And I mean, I just like it my way. But we'll decide, and I'll show you more. And you know, this is, like I said, this is going to be the important decision. If I decide to do it, we're going to change this to the Epic wrecker build, because I seen an Epic Farm OH tractor build and on YouTube, and it was comical. But this will be our Epic wrecker build here. All right, this is for the Epic wrecker build. There is a slewing gear in here, and it's actually a gear and a turntable bearing. The gear actually has the teeth on the inside, and this is this a 40 PC40? Yep. PC40 Komatsu, and we are going to use this here. We've got company here. We're going to use this slewing gear and turntable bearing out from under this machine as a rotator for our wrecker build here. And one thing we got to do is get it out of here so we can get it off. But it looks to be in real good shape. What it did, it had a hydraulic motor with gear reduction that mounted here and turned the gear, and that would actually swing the machine around.